Hello, my name's Ted Lederer, and you're watching another episode of It's All About Art. And today we're in conversation with fiber artist Jane Kenyon at the Elliott Lewis Gallery. Good to see you again.
Good to be here.
Well, Jane, this is your first solo exhibition at the gallery. Thursday, October 13th is the opening. It's going to run until November 12th. And the exhibition is called Near and Far.
This is work over the last 4 years that I've done in different series about the world around me in my perspective, and whether my perspective is looking out into the distance, into the trees or across the water, or my perspective is looking in really closely at a lichen in my front yard. It's one of the common threads that seems to go through the work.
Maybe you can tell us about the different series that are represented in the show.
Probably the earliest one is the lichen series, where I was looking really, really closely in at lichens, looking at, when you look at lichen really carefully, they become almost like a bigger world. They're tiny little things that have so much in them and so many functions and so many uses, and they're like this bigger world that we just step on and walk past every day.
So these 40 by 40 pieces are really derived from something that's 1 inch by 1 inch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or less.
Or less.
Or less.
Okay.
They're not actually, they're visible to the naked eye, so they're not microscopic, but they're close to microscopic.
Okay.
So there's also a landscape series, and most of the landscape pieces have come from paintings that I've done over the years. I will take an acrylic painting or a portion of an acrylic painting that I've done in the past and photograph it and put it into my computer and work it in Photoshop. So they may not resemble the paintings that they came from at all, but they do have a more painterly look than some of the other work. And
that's really something I wanted to touch on, because they stand apart, that they look like a painting.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Part of that is inherent in the fact that they came from paintings. But also I do that by changing the direction of my stitching, and that creates a brush stroke type effect. So it's all done in the sewing machine. I mix threads to mix my color palette, so there's always 3 threads. Everywhere you look on a piece, you're seeing the color of 3 threads. So I can change tonality and hue very easily by changing one of the threads. Usually they're all 3 different colors. You get difference in hue and tonality. That's much more interesting. It's like mixing your own paint colors. If you get your own palette and nobody can reproduce that. It's unique to you. I call it thread painting, and there's other people that call different things that you do with the sewing machine thread painting. But I do consider it painting. If you look at them from different angles, the light will be reflected differently, and it'll almost look like it'll look like a brush stroke or look like it's been put on with a palette knife. So I love painting and I love fiber, and this has allowed me to do both at the same time.
Okay. Now, some of the other series.
The other series, I did a series that is still in progress called Transformation. The Transformation series was really about looking at nature, making it larger or smaller, and then seeing how it transforms into something that looks totally different. Let's see, I have a couple of pieces from the Crevasse series, which again is a bit of a transformation series in that I was looking at rock formations. So I might be looking at a really small area of a rock formation where you can see the little cracks and so on, and then making them large, and they transform into another sort of landscape. Yes. Sometimes I think they look like satellite photographs or something.
Yes. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about the Sanctuary series. So tell us about that.
That's my newest series, and I think I've always painted and taken pictures of trees. I grew up in the prairies. I always felt I belonged in the forest, and I've been taking pictures and painting in northern Saskatchewan, and ever since I moved to BC, have lived in or near the forest. So I have really close associations with trees. And I think these pieces sort of, in a way, for me, they're hearkening back to my earlier paintings of trees. And I've had people tell me that. They remind me of the paintings you did 15 years ago of the trees when you moved to BC. So they're a bit more atmospheric. The color palette is a little bit more muted. And it's that sense of mystery and comfort that I have when I'm in the forest. Yes. And the light shining through, just the way the light peeks through the forest canopies just is really special to me.
Midway through the show, October 22nd, 1 o'clock at the gallery, you're going to give an artist talk.
Mhm.
What will you talk about at the talk?
I'll talk about process, so if anybody's particularly interested in my process, then I will talk about that for sure in as much detail as people want to hear. And I will talk about the different bodies of work in the series and sort of how they developed and why they developed and where they might be going next. I'll be doing a slide presentation and we can also walk around the gallery.
Lovely. Is there anything else you want the viewers, myself, the viewers, to know about you, the work, the show? What do you hope that people get out of it?
I hope they get joy out of it. I hope they're intrigued. I hope they're, they take that look from a distance and then care enough to come in and look closely and maybe even want to touch. I guess I kind of gave up the political statement a long time ago. I found that wasn't something that I was really good at, that anytime I tried to make a really strong political statement with my art, I always felt I was being a bit trite. And so I just realized that I just want to make beautiful things. I just want to make beautiful art that people love to look at, so it brings joy into their lives. And so hopefully every one of these pieces will do that for somebody, that they will look at it and think that's just beautiful and it makes me happy to look at it.
Jane, thank you very much. It's been a lovely conversation.
Thank you.
My name is Ted Lederer. We've been in conversation with fiber artist Jane Kenyon about her upcoming show at the Elliott Lewis Gallery, Near and Far. And we thank you for watching and hope to see you again very soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.